The woman next door confirmed it. "No one lives there," she said quietly. She told Lucas about Richard Hale. The house sat on the corner of Hawthorne Lane, the kind of quiet suburban street where nothing ever seemed to happen. The lawns were trimmed just enough to look respectable. The sidewalks were cracked in thin, spiderweb patterns from age and heat. Porch lights turned on automatically at sunset, bathing the street in a dull orange glow that never quite reached the corners. It was the kind of neighborhood people moved to because they believed it was safe, predictable, forgettable. Lucas moved there because it was cheap. He rented the small blue house across the street while saving for something better, somewhere temporary, somewhere he didn't plan to stay long. He worked late shifts at a warehouse on the edge of town, usually getting home just before midnight. By then, Hawthorne Lane was silent. No music, no voices, just insects buzzing, and the distant sound of cars on the highway. Lucas noticed the waving man about 3 weeks after moving in. At first, it didn't scare him. It barely registered. One night, he parked his car, stepped out, and glanced up, like he always did, more out of habit than curiosity. That's when he saw the man standing behind the second-floor window of the house across the street. The man raised his hand and waved. Not enthusiastically, not casually. It was slow, deliberate, almost careful. Palm facing outward, fingers spread, held there for several seconds before lowering. The man didn't smile. Lucas hesitated, then gave a small wave back, feeling awkward but not threatened. Maybe the guy was lonely. Maybe he mistook Lucas for someone else. The man didn't respond. He simply lowered his hand and stepped backward into the darkness, disappearing so cleanly it felt rehearsed. The next night, it happened again. Same window, same man, same slow wave. Lucas checked the time on his phone. 11:11 p.m. That was when it became strange. By the fourth night, Lucas noticed, the timing never changed. Not by a minute, not by a second. Always 11:11. He started waiting for it, parking his car a little slower, standing a little longer under the streetlight. The wave always came. The man's face became clearer as Lucas paid more attention. Pale skin, hollow cheeks, eyes that never blinked. Lucas stopped waving back. The man never seemed to notice. One night, Lucas stayed in his car until 11:12. Nothing happened. The window stayed dark. The following night, Lucas got home early and watched from across the street. At 11:10, the window was empty. At 11:11, the man stepped into view, his hand already rising, like he'd been standing just out of sight, waiting for permission. That was the night Lucas noticed the house itself. Up close, it didn't look lived in. The paint was peeling badly. The lawn was uneven, weeds pushing through the driveway cracks. The porch light flickered like it hadn't been replaced in years. It looked abandoned. But the upstairs light turned on every night. Lucas crossed the street the next morning and knocked. No answer. The house smelled wrong. Damp, old. Notices were taped inside the window, yellowed and curling. One bore a police seal. Property secured. The date was from months earlier. The woman next door confirmed it. "No one lives there," she said quietly. She told Lucas about Richard Hale, quiet, kept to himself, questioned after his ex-wife's death, found dead a week later. Heart failure, they said. The house was sealed. Lucas laughed nervously and said it must be a mistake. That night, he didn't come home at 11:11. He stayed at a friend's place across town, convincing himself the waving was tied to him somehow. The next morning, the neighborhood group chat was full of messages. "Did anyone see someone in the Hale house last night? I saw a hand. It was waving." Lucas stopped sleeping after that. He didn't need notes to see the pattern. Every time the man appeared, someone nearby died within a day. Not illnesses, not accidents with warnings. Sudden deaths. A man collapsed in his garage. A woman found unresponsive at her kitchen table. A jogger hit by a car less than a block away. And Lucas noticed something worse. The man didn't just face houses, he followed movement. One night, the man raised his hand toward a house 3 doors down. Lucas watched a shadow move behind the curtains inside that house. The finger tracked it. The next morning, that house was quiet. Another night, the man pointed toward the sidewalk. His finger slowly shifted, following something Lucas couldn't see. That night, a man was struck crossing the street. Lucas realized the truth too late. The waving wasn't random. It wasn't a greeting. It was selection. And once the man noticed Lucas watching back, things changed. The waving man stopped disappearing immediately after 11:11. Now he stayed, sometimes for minutes, sometimes until Lucas looked away, sometimes until Lucas felt like the air in his house had gone cold. Sometimes the man tilted his head slightly, as if listening. Lucas started keeping his lights off. He stopped standing near windows. But the man kept looking. And then one night, the man didn't point at anyone else. He pointed at Lucas's house, both hands raised, palms out, fingers spread wide. Lucas didn't go home after work. At 11:11, his phone buzzed. A voicemail from his landlord. There was an incident at the house. When Lucas returned the next morning, police tape surrounded his home. They told him a body had been found inside. A man, same height, same build, same face. The man in the Hale house was gone. The upstairs light never turned on again. Lucas moved out of Hawthorne Lane within a week. But sometimes, when he wakes in the middle of the night, he checks the time. And when the clock reads 11:11, he doesn't look at windows anymore. Because he's afraid of something worse. He's afraid that one night, someone will wave back. And if you ever notice someone waving at you from a dark window at exactly 11:11, ask yourself this: how long have they been waving before you finally noticed?